Hey, hi, good morning, everyone. Um, you can all hear me. Just give me like a thumbs up or a note in the chat. We had some audio issues last week. Awesome, thank you. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get started. You don't need any props. You'll see I have a couple of blocks here. Um, it's just because the ground feels really far away from me sometimes, and so I like to bring it a little closer. If you have anything that simulates blocks or you have blocks, you're always welcome to use them when the ground just feels a little out of reach. I also have a blanket, mostly for comfort. And so if you have a blanket or a towel, you're more than welcome to grab one of those. But otherwise, you can really do this practice prop free. Okay, so we're going to come to a comfortable seat. You can sit down on your bottom and give yourself a little moment to arrive here. So you can scoot yourself back so you're sitting up nice and tall. Maybe rock a little side to side, eventually allowing the eyes to close, or maybe just finding a soft gaze. And beginning to arrive to your mat today, starting to shake off the sleep. And as you begin to settle, start to take in your surroundings. All the things around you that may not be quite usual to a yoga space, just take them in, accept them if you can. It's easier said than done. And start to work towards integrating yourself with your environment. It's all part of your practice today. Considering how you can allow it to support your practice, support your efforts of discipline, of dropping into yourself, whatever it is. There are no useless moments here. And dropping that attention a little further in, come to the body. Just taking a scan of yourself, head to toe to head, seeing how you're doing today. Maybe rubbing the hands along the thighs or the legs, giving yourself some pats even. You're here, you've made it. Becoming aware of your points of contact with the ground, your points of contact with yourself, and thinking about how these connections support you, how they comfort you, maybe how they ground you. And remind yourself that during your day when things are feeling a little wild, these points of contacts are almost always available for you to come back to recenter, to reconnect with yourself. And can you sit up a little taller if you've started to curl into yourself? Can you soften the jaw? Can you relax that space between the brows? And then drawing that attention even further in, begin to observe your breath. And almost as if you were stepping aside and watching the breath, as if you were watching someone else breathe. Not critically, but more with curiosity. Observing the rhythm, the flow of the breath this morning. And it often happens that as we begin to observe the breath, it starts to fall in line, it starts to become more equal on both sides. Maybe it slows down a bit, like a teacher watching a classroom. Everyone begins to behave. And with your next exhale, really clear the breath from the body. So allow yourself to become as empty as possible from the breath. Take a nice big breath in through the nose. And when you're totally full, open the mouth and sigh, exhale. Good, again, breathing in through the nose. Filling up completely. Holding for just a moment at your top. Big sigh, exhale. One more, bring the breath in. Pull it low as if you're trying to heavy yourself into the ground. This time, make a sound, any sound, even a flap the lips as you exhale. Shake it all out. Good. And you can keep your eyes closed if you'd like. We'll come into some neck circles to start. So drop that right ear towards the right shoulder. And then slowly start to drop the chin towards the chest. Moving left ear towards left shoulder. And then gently taking the head back. Doesn't need to be a big drop of the head towards the back body. Good. And continuing in this direction, taking just a couple circles. And if the shoulders want to join, they can join a little bit. And after your next circle, going this way, find a good place to pause and send your circles the other direction. And allowing these circles to be as small, as big as feels good. And from here, start to circle the chest with the head as well. So begin to add the shoulders and the chest into these circular movements. It can feel good to keep the eyes closed here, find that soft gaze still. But if you'd like to open them, blink them open to check in, you can always do that. But otherwise, allow yourself to be in the body. In the morning, it's one of the easiest ways to get present, to really step into your day, is to become embodied, to really tap into the way your body's feeling and let your brain be on almost the back burner. And then it's funny, by the end of this practice, things seem to have lined up. Good. Making those circles a little bit bigger with the chest, starting to send the weight around the lower body. Good. And using the arms to help. And finding a good place to pause and then send your circles in the opposite direction. Big circles with the chest around the lower body. Good. Use the shoulders, use the arms to help. The head can still take part here. Good. And we're going to be playing with these circular motions today in some of our postures. And so using this time to start to get comfortable with them. Seeing what direction they feel a little more natural than the other. Good. Testing out big circles, small circles. And then slowly making the circles smaller, hugging them into the center, almost like a magnet. There's like around a ring, just spinning inward, inward, inward. Good. And eventually the circles come to the center. And the movement slowly dissolves. Taking a breath in and your stillness and out. Bringing the hands behind you, leaning back into them. Fingers can really face any direction, whichever is most comfortable for your wrists. Good. And then you'll take the feet wide and come onto the heels in what many call a bear stance. And so use the hands to lift the chest and arch the back as if you were laying over a big ball. Good. And then from here, start to send the chest in some circles. Just a few in each direction. Good. Letting the elbows bend. Good. And then pausing, going the other way. Just taking a few circles here. Come back to the center. Maybe walk the hands a little closer to the body, lift the chest once again, and start to windshield wiper the legs, just back and forth. Waking up the hips a little bit. These movements don't need to be big. I like to keep things pretty dynamic in the morning, moving and fluid. Continuing that windshield wiper motion. Maybe it starts to get a little bit bigger. And slowly, again, dissolving that motion. Bring it back to the center. Bending the knees just a little bit more, and then sitting up. Taking the hands off the earth. Bring your right hand to your left knee, left hand to your right knee. Give a little pull. Lift your chest up. Good. And then take your bottom arm. For me, is my right arm. Should be for you too. Good. Start to slide the arm out as if you're coming into a twist. Reach the right arm back. Use the left arm to help you get into that twist. And then swim it over the head. Draw a big circle. Bring right arm back to left knee. Good. Same thing with the other side. So slide the left arm out from underneath. Reach it back. Find a twist. Then draw a big circle over the head. Place the hand back on the right knee. Good. A few more times on each side. So swim the right arm back. Circle it overhead. Bring it back to the knee. Left arm comes back. Swim it overhead. Good. Right arm back. Swim it overhead. Left arm back. Swim it overhead. One more on each side. So take the right arm back. Swim it. Left arm back. Swim it. Good. Use the hands. Pull the chest forward like a cow pose. Take a big breath in. Exhale, round back, tuck chin. Find some space between the shoulder blades. Good. Two more. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, round back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, round back. Good. Release the arms. Swing the legs behind you and find tabletop. And allow yourself to arrive to your tabletop. You can move aside any props you may have had. So hands are about shoulder distance apart. Knees are about hips distance. Beautiful. So grab a little chunk of the ground. Try to almost take a piece out of it. Press into the index finger and the thumb. Gently hug the belly towards the spine. Beautiful. And now I want you to start drawing circles with your hips. So trying to keep the upper body kind of stationary, begin to send the hips in a circle. If you're moving through cat-cow with just the lower body, but adding in this kind of dance-like, almost hula movement. So start in any direction, finding some hip circles, doing your best to keep those shoulders from wiggling, really isolating the lower back. Because even though we're focusing on isolating it, the rest of it's coming into play. Really press the tops of the feet into the earth. Gaze going just below you or to the tip of the mat. And find a good place to pause and send the circles in the opposite direction. And often the direction you tend to go first is that more natural direction. So if this way feels a little strange, a little unnatural, it's okay. It's your adventure side. Good. And then from here, start to let these circles move up the spine. So really round the mid-back, tuck the tailbone under. Good. And you'll feel it starts to turn more into a cat-cow as you let the roundness and the circles move up the body, allowing the shoulders to eventually take part. The neck can take part. Okay, keeping a soft bend in the shoulders. And this movement is a framework. So I say circles with the hips and circles with the shoulders, but really I want you to find something maybe outside of your traditional spinal cat-cow, something a little more fluid, a little more wave-like. Good. Find a good place to pause and send everything in the other direction. So circles in the hips, back the other way. Shoulders maybe move the other way. If the head is joining, it can go the other way. Really whipping it up, whipping ourselves up, getting ourselves going this morning. A few more circles. And then slowly start to dissolve that movement. Making everything a little slower, a little smaller. Good. Start to take the knees wide, big toes towards each other. Sit the hips back, find child's pose. And if child's pose isn't comfortable, you can come into puppy pose with the hips a bit higher, stacking the forearms and then resting the head. Good. If you're in child's pose, walking the hands out just a bit, letting the forehead rest onto the mat. Taking a few rounds of breath here and allowing yourself to fill up. Spending long, deep breaths. Doing our best to balance these circular, these wiggly postures with more linear, these static, these still postures. Slowly coming up. Back into table. Good, and from your table, extend your left leg out to the side. If you don't quite have the room going out, you can turn yourself on your mat. So your long ways. Good. So extend the left leg out to the side and press the pinky edge of the left foot into the ground. Take a moment, lift the right knee and take it out so you have a nice wide tripod here. And if you're feeling any pinching or pain in your left knee with the leg straight, you can let the left toes turn out and give the knee a little bend. So either option. And then from here, we're going to start to take circles with the hips, letting the knee bend really however it naturally does. So start to lean out to the left, letting the knee open and bend. Send yourself forward, lean the hips to the right, and then send everything back. So come out to the left again, forward, to the right, and back. Okay, so take a few circles going in this direction. And the foot may naturally kind of move around. The knee is going to do its thing. And you're finding these almost like monkey-like movements. Beautiful, taking pause and then going the opposite direction. And this one always feels super strange in my body. My toes lift, my heel lifts, and that's okay. Slowing the movement down, coming back to stillness. Press the pinky edge of the leg back into the earth. Find that formal kind of posture we started in. Bring the hands up, stand or sit up, hands on the hips. Extend the arms out to a T. Drop the left hand to the outside of the left leg, reach the right arm overhead, gate pose. Taking a few breaths here. You can keep the arm lifted for a side bend, or if you're feeling like you want more of a chest opener this morning, you can drop the hand behind the head and lean into it, finding your chest spinning towards the ceiling. Holding here for 3, 2. Good. Sweep the arms back to the ground. Bring the left leg in. Take a round of cat-cow or wiggle about, or recenter yourself. And we'll come into the other side, so take the right leg out to the side. Lift the left knee and hike it out, creating a nice wide tripod. And then we'll start in those circles, going clockwise. Start to lean forward, out to the right, and back to the left. Taking these circles. You've been here before. And so again, letting the knee bend and straighten as it needs to, allowing the foot to wiggle around. Good, and making these circles as big or small as you'd like. I find sometimes getting a little bigger with the movement can actually make it a little bit more available. Good, finding a place to pause, sending your circles in the opposite direction. And slowly pulling that movement in, back to center, pressing the pinky edge of the foot into the earth, walking the hands towards the body and bringing them to the hips. Reach the arms out long, drop right hand to right leg, press the hand or fingertips in, reach the left arm overhead for gate pose. And again, you can stay in the side bend, or if you'd like to bring the hand behind the head, try to spin the chest towards the sky, finding a little bit more of a chest opener. And bring the hands back to the earth. Slide the right leg in. And then bring yourself into downward facing dog. We're here. And in your down dog, allow yourself a few rounds of breath. We'll be here for about 5, maybe 8 breaths, depending on how fast you breathe, to settle into the posture, to wiggle, to pedal the feet, bend the knees. Doing your best to stay grounded into the hands. So really trying to push the earth away, sending the hips back over the heels. And look between the hands. Start to walk the feet up towards the hands, finding a forward fold at the top of the mat. Good, and allowing the knees to bend. Maybe the belly rests on the thighs. Grabbing elbows with the hands, find a rag doll. Start to sway the upper body side to side, but allowing yourself to stay grounded through all sides of the feet. And slowly dissolving that movement. Reaching the hands towards the earth. On an inhale, take a halfway lift, hands to the shins or maybe blocks. Lift the heart. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Last one, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Good. Bend the knees, hug the belly towards the spine, and roll yourself up to standing, letting the arms hang by the side. And taking a moment, adjusting to this level. Maybe you wiggle the feet, making sure your hips distance apart. Shake out the arms, adjust your shirt, whatever you need to do. And then come into some stillness. Finding a nice gaze, maybe closing the eyes for a few rounds of breath. And just taking in the air up here, seeing how it feels. And starting to drop right ear towards right shoulder. Coming into neck circles, drop chin towards chest. Left ear, left shoulder. And then gently towards the back. Taking a couple more in this direction. And then finding a pause and switching sides. And slowly come back to center. Inhale the arms overhead. And interlace the fingers, flip the palms towards the sky. And take a little bend of the knees. And then starting to send the palms in circles. Using the upper body, so the shoulders will probably come, the upper back, letting the knees bend. Maybe the hips join in, finding some big long circles, some side bends here. And as you move forward, tucking chin to chest. As you move back, lifting the chin up, finding that little back bend. Really trying to hit all sides here. Big circles. Good, finding a pause, switching directions. Big circles, shoulders, rib cage, hips. Good. Slowly dissolving those circles, bringing them in. Leaning back just a little standing back bend. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, let the hands fall by the sides. Good. Taking a moment, maybe shake the wrists out. Start to lean your weight into your right foot and start to pick the left foot up off the earth. And now this may mean a little pickup. This may mean a slightly bigger pickup. Or you can, if you don't want to pick the foot up today, you can really press the heel into the earth. Try to activate the top of the leg and the back of the leg. So really press the heel down and then try to pull the femur into the hip socket. So the whole leg is still active. I'm going to come into stork with the knee bent as if I'm standing on air with my left foot. And then when you find your spot today, inhale the arms overhead. Roll the pinkies in, palms face each other. Good, hug the belly in. Breathing here for 3, for 2. Good. Like you're moving through honey, so slow. Start to reach the left toes all the way back. Letting the right knee start to bend. Reaching long, till eventually the toes find the back of the mat, crescent lunge. And start to bend into that left knee as if you're trying to hover it an inch off the ground for a double bent leg lunge. You can bounce a little, find a good spot. And we'll take a couple breaths in stillness. Good. Trying to keep the hips low, keep them right where they are. Begin to press the left quad towards the sky, straighten into the left leg. Good. Reach the arms overhead. They came down, like mine did. Good. Crescent lunge, holding here. Lean into the right knee a little bit more. Take a big breath in. Exhale, pyramid pose. Reach the hands towards the earth. Straighten the right leg. And look towards the top of the mat. Back foot can stay either on the ball of the foot, or you can spin it so the heel comes to the ground, finding a bit more of a traditional pyramid pose. Choice is yours. Pressing into the big toe of the right foot, and then a small spin of the right knee towards the right pinky toe. So you're grounding into the big toe, and then externally rotating, spin the knee towards the pinky. Beautiful. From here, spin the back foot into a warrior two position. So about a 90-degree or some for a 45-degree angle, somewhere in between there. You can be heel to heel or arch to heel, whatever alignment works best for you. Good. Bend into the right knee, sweep the arms open, warrior two. Taking a moment here. Maybe you bend and straighten, finding your spot, reaching the arms long, gazing over the middle finger of the front hand. Finding that stillness, finding that focus. Grounding into the pinky edge of the back foot, rooted in your memories. Right foot is ahead of you, rooted in your potential. And here you are, right in the middle, strong, stable, in the center of yourself. Straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips. Turn the body towards the long edge of the mat, toes to the corners. Good. And you may need to adjust the width of your stance. We'll come into goddess pose. So inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms wide, lift the chest, bend the knees, try to sink the hips down so they become level with the knees. Good. Hug the belly in. Good. Bring the hands to the thighs. And we'll come into some cat-cow-like pulses here. So inhale, start to arch the back, sink the belly and the chest towards the ground. Exhale, press the shoulder blades away from each other, round back up. Good. Inhale, drop the belly, arch the back. Exhale, round up. Good. One more. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, round up. This time, come all the way back to standing, straighten the legs. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms wide, lift the chest. You can allow the knees to find that natural bend that they'd like. Good. Bring the hands to the hips. Turn the toes towards the front of the mat. Good. Take a big step up. Top of the mat, come back to standing. Release the arms by the side. Take a breath in and a breath out. Start to lean the weight into the left foot. Coming into stork pose on this side. So either heel to the earth, suck the femur back into the hip socket. Maybe you lift up a little more, lift up a little more, somewhere in between. Or if you're finding stork pose today, in this version, my knee is bent and I'm standing on like an imaginary chair with the right foot. When you find your spot, inhale the arms overhead, holding here, hugging the belly in, palms face each other, pinkies roll in, allowing the shoulders to slide down the back. Good, and then slow, 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 like you're moving through honey, start to reach the right toes back, allowing the left knee to find that natural bend. Good, eventually, right toes find the earth for a crescent lunge. And it's really a transitionary crescent lunge. So adjust your stance if you're feeling off balance, maybe widen it. Take a moment, reach the arms overhead. Good. And then begin to bend the right knee as if you're trying to hover it an inch off the ground. Double bent leg lunge, you can bounce a little. Find that buoyancy, that lightness. Bringing that into your day, the levity, the ability to see the humor in things. Good. And eventually bringing yourself to some stillness, building some heat. And then trying to keep the hips exactly where they are. Begin to press the right quad towards the sky, bringing the right leg to straight, crescent lunge. Bending a little more deeply into the left knee. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, pyramid pose, straighten the front leg. Fold forward. Your back foot, you can stay on the ball or you can spin the foot. Finding more traditional pyramid. Like pressing into the big toe of the front foot. And then a small spin of the left knee towards the left pinky toe. Taking a few more rounds of breath here. And then from here, spin the back foot so the heel comes to the earth. Foot's at roughly a 90-degree angle, but maybe a little smaller. Bend into the left knee. Circle the arms up for warrior two. Open the arms wide. And then readjust as you need to. Eventually finding your stillness. Gazing out over the middle finger. And taking a few rounds of breath here. And again, pressing into the pinky edge of the back foot, feeling rooted there, grounded, stable. Pressing into the big toe of the front foot and still finding that little rotation of the knee towards the pinky toe. And then situating yourself right in the middle. Good. Straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips, and then again, turn your body towards the long edge of the mat. This time, pigeon the toes in just slightly or have the feet parallel. Inhale the arms overhead. Lean back, find a little back bend, and then exhale, fold forward. Try to keep that back bend. If you have like a couch or a bed nearby, you can use those things as like a stopping point to keep the spine really long. Couch, bed, chair, fireplace, mantle, blocks, something to bring the ground closer so you can still keep a back bend in the spine. Send the hips back, try to flick the back of your head with your tailbone. Remain in that fold. And if you do have something nearby, couch, bed, chair blocks, you can rest onto it. I like to stack my forearms, let my head rest. And you can certainly still do that without any props. It does ask for a little bit more hamstring flexibility or a rounded back. And so find your good place here. I'm gonna use my blocks. And then start to bend into the right leg. And then move through center, bend into the left. Just pulsing back and forth from right to left. And slowly coming back to center. Taking one more round of breath on our wide leg forward fold. Good. On a big inhale, start to bring yourself back up to standing. Good. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, hands to hips. Turn the feet towards the top of the mat. Big step up into standing at the top of your mat. Check in with your feet. Hips distance apart still. Release the arms by the side. Take a moment. And bring the arms overhead. Grab the elbows with the hands as if you were in ragdoll. Grab the elbows with the hands and then try to pull the elbows apart. They don't come apart because you're holding them. Good. Bend the knees. Inhale, start to reach the arms back, lift the chest, lean back. Keeping these arms the same way this whole time. Start to fold forward, letting the knees bend. Rounding the back at the bottom. Good. And then slowly roll yourself up. When you get to the top, lean back. Reach the arms behind you. Fold forward. So finding this circular, almost chair here. At the bottom, you tuck and round. Roll yourself up. Lean back, big back bend at the top. Keep the spine long as you fold. Good, one more. So roll yourself up. Lean back, nice back bend here. Fold forward. Stay at the bottom this time. Release the arms towards the earth. Good, and then from here, walk the feet a little wider, about mat's distance. Step the right toes to the back of the mat. Nice wide lunge here, and lower the right knee. Good. If you feel pressure or pain in your right knee, I recommend you walk your left foot forward or take your right foot back a little to find more length, more back to front space in your lunge so that your weight can roll forward more onto the quad than on the kneecap. If that still is kind of like, no, you can use a blanket, you can pad it a little bit and give it a little more cushion. Good. Let the left toes turn out. Right knee also faces out. Hip opens up. Good. Place the right hand firmly to the ground or to a block if the ground is a little far away. Left hand comes to the inside of the left knee. Gentle press of the knee open, really keeping the foot grounded. Let the chest spin. Taking a few rounds of breath here. The knee can really open here. And if it feels good, you can flex the foot, roll onto the pinky edge of the foot, and then continue to press. But that does ask for a pretty stable hip joint. And it definitely asks for a flex foot. The foot must be flexed so we don't sickle into the ankle, potentially hurting ourselves. And so finding this openness, this flexibility, but then adding some strength putting boundaries on it. Good. Come back to center. Bring the hands to the earth. Walk the left foot in, just a couple wiggles. You can keep the hands on the inside of the left foot. Good. And then start to reach the hips back. Come onto the left heel. Peel the left toes towards the body. Half splits. Good. Look forward. Continue to think back bend here. So it may be helpful to bring your left hand to your shin. Give you a little more height as you press the fingertips into the ground, the right fingertips into the ground. Maybe feels better to come up and you feel a stretch here. So if your hands are on your hips, really reach the collarbones towards the toes. Yeah, take just a few more rounds of breath here. Good, re-bending that leg. Framing the foot with the hands and then walking the left foot towards the right side of the mat. Lowering down. And today we're actually not finding pigeon. You're totally welcome to if you'd like. I'm gonna find deer today. So the left leg is bent. Bend the right leg in. And so you have two like 90-degree or maybe something a little smaller angles in the legs. So the back leg is bent, the inside of the right leg is on the ground or towards the ground. The outside of the left leg is moving towards the ground. Good. And if you want to more mirror pigeon, that would require two pretty big 90-degree angles. Well, pretty specific 90-degree angles. Good. Turn the chest over the front leg and then find a fold. And really doing similar things to pigeon, a little more restorative. This is a yin posture, so a little more gentle. And from your deer, in your fold, start to walk the hands left. So sending the weight kind of over the left knee, the left hip, finding a little side bend. And coming back to center. Bring yourself up. And then from here, extend the left leg out in front of you. And if this is uncomfortable on the right hip, you can flip the foot and bring it to the inside of the left leg, or you can keep it back. Two options there, they're both great. Turn the chest over the straight leg, find a fold. Good, slowly bring yourself up. And then we'll swing the legs around, find a downward facing dog. We haven't been here in a little while. Just a few rounds of breath. See how you're feeling in this posture now. Look between the hands and walk or step into your forward fold. Good. And moving right along to the next side, walk the feet out about mat distance. Step the left toes to the back of the mat. Good. Nice wide lunge here, and then lower the left knee. Turn the right toes out. Right knee follows out. Right hip opens. Press the left hand into the earth, and then bring your right hand to the inside of your right leg. A little press, let the chest spin to the right. Yeah, this nice wide lizard lunge. Taking a few breaths here. And again, if you'd like, and the hip is feeling stable, like it's wanting a little more, you can flex the right foot and allow yourself to come onto the pinky edge of the right foot. Nice, strong flex. Keep your wild in reins. You control it. Taking about 3 more rounds of breath here. Bring the right hand back to the earth. Start to wiggle that right foot in and in. Hands can stay on the inside of the right foot. And then we'll come into half split. So send the hips back. Peel the right toes off the earth and pull them towards the body. Coming onto the right heel. And still finding this nice little back bend in the spine. Look forward. And if the spine feels really rounded here, bring yourself a little bit higher. Maybe right hand comes to the shin. Maybe you come all the way up. If you have blocks, this is a beautiful place. Use blocks or a couple pillows, blanket, really anything. Bring the ground closer. A little bend, just a micro bend in the knee. Flick the tailbone towards the back of the head, really getting into the belly of the hamstring. Re-bend into the right knee. Walk the right foot across the mat. And then lay yourself down. Come into deer, so bend the back leg. And set yourself up so that you feel similar sensations as you did to the other side, but recognize the legs may look very different. That's okay. Good, and once you're set up, turn the chest over the right leg and find a fold. And if you're someone who likes to do yoga in bed in the morning or at night, this is a great posture to do in bed. And in your fold, walk the arms to the right, sending your weight over the right leg, the right hip, and finding just a little side bend. Coming back to center. Walk the hands in. And we'll straighten the front leg. And again, if the hip is uncomfortable, flip that left foot in. Bring the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Good. Turn yourself over the straight leg and fold. Bringing yourself back up. And you're welcome to find one last downward facing dog. I'm going to swing my leg around and come down to my back. So we're meeting on our back. You can move through a down dog and then make your way to your back. Or you can swing your leg around and lay down now. But we'll all meet lying down on our backs. Good. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet are on the ground. And then hug your knees to your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. A little rock side to side. Good. Drop the legs left. Find a little supine twist. Something that feels good. So maybe you stack the legs or straighten the bottom leg, keeping the top one bent. Come through center. And drop your legs to the other side, finding your supine twist, going the other direction. Come back to center. Give yourself a big squeeze. And find a happy baby. Bringing the knees wide, soles of the feet to the sky. Hands come behind the thighs or around the pinky edge. And rock a little side to side. Maybe straighten one leg, straighten the other. Taking just a few rounds of breath. And then resting into your Shavasana and finding whatever version of Shavasana works for you this morning. Maybe placing a blanket or pillow under the knees or under the back. Allowing the eyes to close. And taking just a few minutes of stillness. And as the mind wants to move on to the next thing, see if you can gently reel it back. Keep it here. Maybe the breath helps you bring the brain to some intention or some attention, focusing your thoughts onto a word, a mantra, or something very pleasant and lovely to think about. So at least if the mind refuses to stop wandering this morning, you're thinking about nice things. And we'll take about the next minute to just be still and be quiet. And they'll bring you out after that's done. And deepening the breath, really filling up with your inhales and emptying out completely with your exhale, bringing life into the body, wiggling the fingers and toes, and letting all that fresh energy move through yourself, your body, your mind, and starting to rock and roll, and using whatever movements you'd like to bring yourself to one side, taking a breath or two there. And then bringing yourself to a seat, hands to your thighs. And whenever you arrive, you're in the comfort of your own home. So you can take as long a Shavasana as you'd like. But if you are ready, give yourself one more breath to really sit in the efforts of your practice. Start to rub the hands along the thighs, create a little heat, a little friction. Inhale the arms overhead, face the palms towards each other. Hold that little ball of heat, that little ball of energy. You start to draw the hands inward. Eventually, the palms touch. Slide them down the center line of the body. Maybe thumbs graze the forehead, tip of the nose, lips, chin. Eventually, they press at the sternum. A moment to thank yourself for getting up, for coming to your mat, and for doing something that fills your cup of self love, self compassion, kindness. So eventually it runs over and you can extend it out to others. And thanks to your body for doing all these things. It's really cool. And I encourage you to find as many moments as you can during your day to be in awe of yourself. Chin drops towards chest, thumbs lift to the space above and in between the eyebrows. Thank you all so much for coming, for sharing your morning and your practice with me and with each other. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and namaste.